Hello, and welcome to the demo video for the equipment checkout tracker. This one's a slightly strange spreadsheet because there's actually two different versions of it. There's a desktop version and there's a hybrid version. Now, everything that's in the desktop version is in the hybrid version, but not everything that's in the hybrid version is in the desktop version. So the desktop version is going to be a cheaper product. It's going to be its individual standing product in the store. The hybrid version is a different product, same name. One will just have desktop at the end, one will have hybrid, and they'll be listed as separate products. The desktop one is cheaper because there's less to it. So I'm going to show you how the desktop one works first. So I've got it set to desktop. So everything you see in the first part of the video will be desktop. I'm going to do the hybrid editions at the end. So if you do have the desktop version or you want the desktop version and you get to the hybrid, you can stop the video because there's nothing really useful for you after that. If you do decide to go with the hybrid video, then watch the bit at the end to see how the hybrid bits work. What I mean by desktop and hybrid, what I mean is it's a desktop spreadsheet, but there's one element to it that is usable on the mobile. So the hybrid version, what that offers is if you've got people who are in the office filling in the spreadsheet and you've got people who are potentially coming into the office, you don't have a laptop or desktop who want to actually access this on their phone. You will need a central spreadsheet where they all access something on SharePoint that everybody can access the same spreadsheet. But if you do have people accessing it on a mobile phone, then the hybrid one might be the option to go for because it's a clearer layout. It's suited to the mobile. You can use it, you can select it, and it actually links up with whatever's done on the desktop to give you a kind of summary of the two together. So you can use either or. So you can have the desktop and the mobile and the hybrid version. The other option I'll give you on the hybrid, when you place an order for a hybrid, I'll email you and say, do you want them as one spreadsheet or separated? Because what I can do is you can either have the mobile tab on the same spreadsheet so that people in the mobile access the same spreadsheet and it's all done in one. Alternatively, I can actually split them. So take the mobile sheet and put it onto a different spreadsheet so that people collecting the entering mobile data don't have access to the dashboard and the equipment tab and the filters and that kind of thing. All they do is have one tab that they can enter what they've taken or returned. And then all you do is do a link between the two spreadsheets, which I've set up the whole system for that. So it's very easy to do. Set up a link between the two spreadsheets, which means that your spreadsheet then you can have two spreadsheets, one for the office and one for the guys potentially out on site or whatever who need to use their phones. So do let me know which one you want. Desktop, everything in one, all done on the desktop. Hybrid, meaning the mobile entry page. And then if you do take the hybrid, do you want it all as one spreadsheet or split over two spreadsheets? Those are the options. The desktop one's cheaper. So the first part of the video, I'm going to go for the desktop. I'm going to show you what's in the desktop because everything on the desktop is still in the hybrid. And then the next part of the video will be hybrid. Hopefully that makes two sense. It isn't too complicated. Let's get cracking on the desktop version. The first is some of the settings. I'll show you these settings as I get to it on the other sheets, but all you need to do for now is assign 5 different conditions. Now the conditions, this is where you need to think about what you want to actually know about these products, about the machines. When I talk about conditions, what I mean is you might buy a brand new one, which is as new. You may have it in good condition, average, poor, and unusable. I would tend to break these down into something that's quite clear. If you put kind of grade A, grade B, grade C, people may not necessarily know what grade A, grade B, grade C means. So try and make them as clear as possible. And also what I would do is I would state certain facts like, for example, unusable, or what you may have is one that says unusable, or you might have it as needs attention or something like that. Because if you change the condition to something that actually helps you to spot that actions required, like for example unusable, it will help you later on because the dashboard will give you a breakdown of the machines and what condition they're in. So if you do use terminology like unusable or needs attention or part broken or something like that, it does make it easier for the people when they collect it or bring it back to be able to select something that is actually relevant rather than just a kind of grade. So, for example, I could have had unusable, require attention, and then something else if there were another kind of actionable thing. And then the top two could have been good condition or bad condition. So you decide how you want to break that down. But yeah, if you think about that, it could be really helpful later on what different conditions you give it. The other thing are these two services. Now, what the two services is I realize some machines might need servicing once a year or once every 2 years, and they might need calibration once every 6 months or whatever the case might be. Now, I'm not talking about things that get done every single time someone takes it out. If someone takes it out and they have to calibrate it every single time, then don't put that in here. Just make it a standard rule that if they take the machine, they do that. So you're not actually tracking that. But these are things that need to happen every 6 months, every year, every 3 months, every 2 years, whatever the case might be. So if these are all blank, so if both columns in one row is blank, for example, then it doesn't get used, in which case it doesn't ask you for any, it grays it out and you don't fill anything in and it's fine. So you don't even have to use the service. If you clear all of those out, you won't use these service 1, 2. So if you don't have them, just clear them out and it won't ask you for it. If you want to use the default name service one, then just tick that and it goes use and then it gives you service one. If you want to rename it, you can rename it here. And whether you tick use or not, once you've renamed it makes no difference. It just goes through because it's been renamed. So these are the different services that it's doing. So it's service and calibration is how I've set it up. Um, you can choose what you want. Um, and you don't have to have every machine having each of these. I'll show you later how you enter that. But once you've set that up, these here for now, don't worry about them yet. I'll show you what they do when we get to that. The next setup bit that you need to do is enter the staff names, first names, surnames, whatever you want to do, initials, however you want to work it. The only criteria here is that you don't have the same member of staff listed twice. Leave the date left blank. If the person leaves, just put the date when they leave. What the spreadsheet then does is it moves stuff into this column here to show you if any machines haven't been returned. And this tracks all the green headers are all formulated data. So this is currently tracking how many machines each person has. Um, the red headers stuff is things that you need to put in. So that's your staff setup and your settings. And once you've done that, you really are ready to go. The equipment sheet, again, red headers, data entry, green are all formulated. So you can give the machine a unique name. If you do have a code, I would include the code into there or whatever it is, because each of these rows needs to be unique. You can't have the same machine listed twice. So if you do have 5 of the same machine, put some kind of index code or machine code, or even just, drill 1, drill 2, drill 3, whatever the case might be. So they all need to have a unique name in order to not come up with different clashes and things like that. Um, then you can put the date when it's added. So when you add the machine and just put the date in, all that does is kind of start this whole service and calibration story. So put the date when it's added. Excuse me. And then if the machine gets removed, you can put the date when the machine's removed. And what I mean by removed isn't checked out. What I mean by removed is that that machine's no longer available. So you can use it as a temporary thing if you want to. If a machine goes off and you're going to go, well, we're not going to have this machine for 6 months because it's getting fixed or whatever the case might be. You can temporarily put that in remove and clear it again, but just be careful because when you do mark it as removed, the spreadsheet assumes the machine is no longer going to be used, and I'll show you shortly in the settings what that actually means. So you just have to be careful about that, but you can use it as a temporary measure. Service and months and calibration months. So this is what we've set up in the settings tab. You can put in a whole number here. So if this machine gets serviced every 12 months, put in a 12. If it gets calibrated every 6, put in a 6, whatever the numbers are. These 3 machines here don't get calibrated, so I've left them blank, and that's perfectly fine. It then just shows a blank. It doesn't actually ask for calibration. So you can decide here at machine level which ones require the service, which ones require the calibration. And then enter the starting condition. So you may get something secondhand, so it may not start as perfect, but you can enter the starting condition, and that essentially then sets up that machine for use. I would sort them A to Z here in order of machine because they're A to Z, because then that's the way that they appear on the other list. It's probably the best way to do things. Um, and then you're ready to go. The rest of these columns will all populate as you actually go along. So when you go to check something in or check something out, let's have a look at the angle grinder. It's currently out with Harry. So if we go to the check in and check out and we say Harry comes back in again, and he comes back in with the angle grinder. Now this next column will, when you click on it, it'll give you the current date and time down to the second. So you just simply select it as this is what's happening. The reason why this needs to be precise and needs to be when you're actually entering it in here is because the spreadsheet is looking at all these different times and dates and ranking everything in order to be able to know the sequence of events that had happened. So you can't have, if you were to try and put that date and time in again, it would flag up in red because you can't have two at the precise time. So it'll be very difficult for you actually to select two in a row in the same second, but don't do that. Give it a second or two to calculate and then pop the next date in when you're doing the next date and time. Because this is, oh man, wait a second here. See what everyone's saying. That's all good, Marlon. All right. Okay, so that's the equipment. Let's have a look at the check-ins or check-outs. In fact, let's have a look here. The angle grinder is currently off with Harry. So then we say Harry comes in. He brings in the angle grinder. And this here will give you the date and time right now, down to the second. The reason it does that is because each of these times, dates and times need to be unique. So if you really were to fill this in quickly and literally list a whole bunch of machines and go down very quickly and select, if you were to select two in the same second, it would stop you and say, please reselect. So it just gives you the exact date and time so that these are all ranked in order of when they've actually been adjusted on here and not necessarily when they happen. So if something happened yesterday and you're putting it in now, it's only going to adjust according to when you fill the spreadsheet in. And I didn't want to allow backdated times and things here because people could fill in anything and the thing would just go absolutely haywire. So Harry's bringing up, it's still marked as out. Once he then goes, this will then say, because the angle grinder is currently out and he selected it, it will now only give him in because that's the next one that needs to happen. So then select in, and now you see the status changes to in. And if you go back to the equipment, you'll see the status of the angle grinder is now in from Harry. Um, if he does the condition, the condition's good. And now he sees when he's bringing it in, well, there should have actually been a service. Now, if Harry did do a service, say, for example, yesterday, then he can go, oh, well, I did a service on the 22nd of July. You pop that in, and then it's now gone on to another service in 12 months' time. So it's all good and it's all been done. Notes are optional. You can put some notes in there if you want to, but it doesn't do anything as far as the spreadsheet's concerned, but it might be useful to you. So that is then effectively how you go about doing your check-ins and check-outs. And you just keep on going down the list, down the list, down the list. As you scroll down, it hides what's been done, and you can carry on going and going and going all the way down to the bottom if you want to. And then now you need to clear out some data, and I'll show you in a minute how to clear that data out. Um, the other two tabs, the green tabs, are all reporting tabs. So what the reporting tabs do is the first one is a filterable check-in or out. This literally just lists all the check-ins and check-outs, but it's got a filter down the side. Now you can argue, yeah, but I can come and filter here. You can filter here, but just bear in mind that when other people are filling this in and you filtered and there's hidden rows and it just confuses people. Also, there are some filters that you can do here as well that are better. So I'll show you how to do the filtering here. If you just want to see what's going on, let's say, for example, you say, well, what has Harry been up to? If you select from the staff and you select Harry, it shows you then all the machines that Harry's checked in and all the machines that Harry's checked out in order. You can sort newest to oldest, and you can also include which entries to show. Now, this one's an interesting one, but it's potentially slightly confusing the wording. Include all, that does what it says on the tin. It includes all entries. Only last in. If you want to check all the machines that came in, the only last in will show you all of the machines that came in, and it'll only show you the last time they came in. So who were the last people to return each and every machine? That would be it. The last out, this will be the last person to take a machine out, whether it's in or out. Anyone, the last person to take it out will be shown. This is the last out only if out. So in other words, this is the last person to take out only if the machine is currently out. And this is the last person to bring the machine in only if the machine is currently in. So you can select any one of those options to filter and it will show you the relevant filters. If I go back to all again, what you can do is you can say, well, actually, I just want to see what's gone on with the angle grinder, for example, and you can come down further down here and you can select the angle grinder up to 6 machines, and it will show you the interaction, the transactions, as it were, checking in or checking out of that particular machine. So you can use those filters to come and do a filterable view here, which means you can leave the filter set, you can unset them. If you do clear something like if you see it doesn't set straight away, then the spreadsheet is quite large, doing all sorts of back and forth calculations. So just press F9 if you see that it's kind of stalling a little bit and it'll refresh. Sometimes, because there's so much going on with the spreadsheet and so many formulas cross-checking with all these times and things, the spreadsheet it clears and it doesn't update immediately. And then you look at it going, why is it not updating? If at any stage you see that it's not updating and it hasn't done so when you've changed something, just press F9 and that will refresh the spreadsheet. So the last reporting tab is the dashboard tab. Down the left here, it'll give you any alerts and warnings for data. So if, for example, we went and added in a new machine, but we didn't put in the starting condition and the date. When you go to the dashboard, you see it says 2 yellow alerts. So that's just alerting you to the fact that you need to enter some more data or you've got some incorrect data. So you'll see other alerts and warnings here, for example, 2 services due, 2 calibrations due. You can go and check on the equipment to see what that is. This section here, there are 3 tables. These are the tables down at the bottom, and then the 3 graphs. Let me just explain the graphs. This first graph gives you a breakdown of all the different current machines in the stage that they're in. So you can see there's 4 that are listed as new. Equipment. So it's good. That's good. It's not quite as dark as he has new. 4 listed as good and 1 listed as average. And you can see here this table will update and bring the kind of biggest culprits, I say culprits loosely, towards the top. What this does is it draws the people to the machines to the top that have dropped the most in perceived condition. So if you bought a machine that's good, good as new, and now it's got the lowest one, which is not working at all, or whatever condition you've set, that will be the biggest drop, and that machine will then appear at the top. So you'll see at the top the ones that have dropped the most. If you've got more than the number of people, the number of machines that are on this list, you can come down here and toggle. When you have more, you'll see number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different tables will appear here. You can select table 2, table 3, table 4 as you get more items on these lists. So you can toggle through these tables. This toggle here applies to this one on the left, and this toggle here applies to the one in the middle. This one in the middle shows you how many machines are in, how many machines are out, breakdown as a current. But this one lists all the machines that are out and the longest they've been out. So the machine that's been out for the longest time will be at the top of this list. Just for you, this may not be a problem. It might not be an issue for you, but it's just here so that you can see, hang on, that machine's been out for 1,000 days. Has the guy lost it? Is he still busy with it? What's going on? Has it maybe been returned or not filled in? And you can go and investigate. So it just alerts you to the machines that have been out the longest. And this bit here alerts you to the staff who have the most machines. So if someone's checked out 40 machines, and they've got the most, it'll come to the top. This at the top here just shows you how many people have got more than five, how many people have got four, how many people have got three, two, one, etc. So at the moment, there are two people who've got one machine, and those are the two. So that's the dashboard. The dashboard automatically updates. You can just toggle these tables to adjust through these tables. Everything else is automated for you. And the filterable check-in, you can just toggle these filters down the right-hand side. Everything else is done for you. These equipment that update with the last person current. So you can come to the equipment, you can see what is it, it's out, what conditions it in that, how long has it been out for 342 days, who's got it, and you can see here that the service and calibrations are due. Now, if someone's had it for a long time, they could well have done those service and calibrations, but they're only going to notify you of it when they bring it back again, which means that might be okay because the machine's been out for a while. But if the machine's in stock and it needs a service calibration, that might be a reason for you to actually get hold of whoever's looking after the store saying, listen, get that done. In which case, if the machine is in and someone does get it calibrated or serviced, all they would need to do then is if you add their name in the staff list, maybe store or internal or whatever it might be, then what they can do then is they can come and check it out, service it and calibrate it. And when they then check it back in again, check it back in and say, yes, we did the service or calibration. And then that will correct everything. So they just do it the same way, just by checking it out, doing the service, checking it back in and putting the service details in. So that is that part of the spreadsheet. There's one more element I need to show you, which applies to both. I'm going to show you this twice because it does change ever so. There's a slight difference between doing the desktop version and the hybrid version. But in the desktop version, in your equipment and your check-in and check-outs, you see there's always this remove column. So what this remove column does is it essentially checks which of these rows of data can be safely cleared out. Now you can set this, and I'm going to show you two settings that's going to affect this. In fact, let me show you the other setting as well. Let me do this one first. This is just a visibility thing. I have had in the past where people have said, for example, this check-in, check-out, different people are checking in, checking out, and I don't want people to see what others have done. So I've given you two options here on the settings. You can either leave the row as it is, which if you do select the clear one, it picks that one as default, or you can actually gray out the row and show the text. So if you gray out the row and show the text, when we go to the check-in and check-out, it grays out the previous rows, but it still shows what happened. So if you say, well, I'd like to see them grayed out just to know that that transaction has been completed, but I want the data to show, then you can select that and it will show. Alternatively, you can go to the settings and you can say gray out and hide text, in which case if you go to the check-in and check-out, it will gray out. If you're busy filling something in, it'll still show it. But as soon as you then filled in the complete row, it then grays it out and you move on to the next one. So you can gray them out if you want to. That's up to you in the settings tab. But now as far as actually clearing out data, so this is when you've the equipment potentially, but most likely your check-ins, when you get down to the bottom of this, so it goes down to row 8,010, the 8,000 rows. When you get down to the bottom, you're going to run into a situation where you're going to go, hang on a second, I need to clear out some space in the spreadsheet. How do I do that? What you do is you copy this remove column. So from here down, as far as you need to go down, if it's right down to the bottom, you can press Shift Control and down, you jump the whole way down. But otherwise, if you scroll down to the end of the data or the bottom, copy, right click and paste values. So when you copy the data, right click into the sorter and paste values. Always, always, always use paste values when you're pasting into the spreadsheet, never any of the other ones. The only other one you will use is the link, but that's only later on, not now. You use the values when you're pasting values. That will paste X's into this column alongside each row that can actually be removed. Then go up here and sort Z to A. That will bring all the X's up to the top. Then select everything that's got an X in that column, right click, clear contents, clear them all out. And once you're done, come back here again and sort by check-in dates, oldest to newest, bring all the oldest ones to the top. And that will then, rather than you going through row by row by row by row by row, it'll tell you exactly which rows with the X, sort them all to the top, clear them out, resort, and you then created a whole bunch of space at the bottom of your spreadsheet to continue working. So now then once you've done the checkout, you can do the exact same thing on the equipment because the equipment will also have remove, and you can copy that, paste values into sort to bring them to the top, clear them out, and then resort alphabetically. So do the check-in and check-out first, and then the equipment. So the big question now is, how does the spreadsheet know which rows to clear out? Well, that's in the settings. There are two settings here that tell it that. Number one, how many entries do we keep for each machine when clearing out? So if I say 4, what this means is it's going to look down that list and it's going to say, is this entry one of the last 4 for that machine? If the answer is yes, it's going to keep it. If the answer is no, it's going to clear it out. So you can select how many. So if you've got, for example, you want to keep loads of entries and you've only got 10 machines, then that's fair enough. And you can keep, 10 of each or 20 of each or whatever, 30 of each or whatever the case might be. But if you've got all 500 machines and you keep 10 of each, that's 5,000 rows potentially. So you need to obviously be a little bit more lenient with that number, but you can decide what you want that to be, set it up accordingly. And then the other setting is this one down here. You can either leave it blank, which will do the only when data expires, or you can mark the data to clear, mark all data to clear. And what this means is, if you've got a machine where you've added a date to say remove that machine, that means that the machine's no longer in circulation and it can be removed. You can't just clear it out straight away because then you're going to have stuff here with that machine and it's not going to know what data is going on. So what you can do then is you can either set it to clear immediately, or you can set it to follow this rule here. If you leave it blank or set to only when data expires, then it treats it the same as any other. It'll keep the last 4 and it'll clear out any that are older than the last 4. If you say clear out immediately, what that one then does is when you go to clearing out, if the equipment is marked as removed, so there's a date in there, then all of that one for this machine will be marked as removed, regardless of whether it's the last 4 or not. So that's the other option, is just to clear it immediately or to keep the last 4, or however many you've got in your settings. So you can choose what to do with regard to those settings. And then you can set that up to mark the X's and the remove to clear it all out. So those are the sheets: check in, check out. The equipment list stays relatively static, I'd imagine, unless you're adding or removing equipment. Check in, check out. This is the one you're going to be using most regularly. And then you've got your filterable list, your staff list, your settings, and your dashboard. That is the video for the desktop version. So now I'm going to cut this and come straight back again and show you the video for the hybrid version. Right, this is the hybrid version. The only real difference is it gives you this extra tab. Now, if you're keeping this all on one spreadsheet, then you'll just have an extra tab on the one spreadsheet. You won't have to link the two up. And I'm going to show you how this works. It's exactly the same. It asks you who the person is. It asks you what the machine is. Once you've selected a machine, you can select the time. If it's out, it'll ask you to bring it back in. If it's in, it'll ask you to take it out and then put the condition. The only difference is, instead of showing you the date when the next service and calibration is due, it just changes colors. If it changes blue, then it's not required. If it changes red, then it is required. So when you take the machine out, you'll see the colors, you'll see if it's required or not. And then while you have it out, while you have the machine in your position, you can either then service or calibrate or whatever. When you return, then it'll change color again, red if it's required, and then you can just pop the date in when you actually did the service or calibration, and it will then clear it back out again. So instead of giving you the dates, it just changes colors. The reason I've done it like this is just to make the whole screen narrower. So I'm going to hide these grid references, which means you're just going to have this layout here. And if you actually hold your phone landscape rather than upright portrait, but hold the landscape to the side, then this should fit right across the width of the phone. So you should have this across the width of your phone screen. So I've just made it as narrow as possible. So using colors rather than dates and things in order to alert you to what's going on. But the concept of filling it in is exactly the same. If you fill something in here, it it goes across to the other sheet, and if you fill it in the other sheet, it comes across to the sheet. So it checks back and forth. So again, if the spreadsheet takes a while to load, just press F9 on the keyboard or just refresh it on your phone, because sometimes there's a lot of formulas going back and forth, checking dates from both lots of information. And because you've got 8,000 rows, it's quite complex formulas and lookups and things. So it might lag a little bit, but just especially the mobile one, just select it and go one at a time as it completes. But the mobile, so you can check something out on the mobile and check it in on the other one in the desktop version, or vice versa, and it will read between the two and update the equipment tab. One thing that we do have, I explained to you how to clear out all the remove ones on the other sheet. This one's slightly different. It's the same concept. You still copy this R here and paste into the S, paste values into the S column. There's two differences with this mobile one. Number one, don't try and do this on a mobile because it's going to be very difficult. Do this on a desktop. But I had to take out the filters because I don't want people filtering it on mobile, because if it's filtered out of sync of the date, check-in and times, it causes all sorts of issues. So while you're doing this clear out, what's very important with this one is, instead of clearing out one and then clearing out the other, what's the most important element is you need to copy the two lots of X's first. So come to the checkout, copy those X's, paste values in the sorter column. Once you've done that, then come to the mobile, copy these X's and paste values into the sorter column. And only once you've got both lots of X's pasted in, then come back here and sort it by the X's, clear them out and resort it. And then come to this one, sort this one. To sort it, what you need to do is select your data down to the bottom of your data, wherever that might be, and actually come to, I think it's under data. If you click the sort at the top here, sort that, and then sort by column S, Z to A, to bring all the X's up the top. Then once you've got that, then clear them, and then select all of this right from the top underneath the headers right down to the bottom of your data. So there's going to be a blank patch first and then your data, right down to the bottom of your data. And then click on the sort here again. Make sure my header as data is ticked, and sort by time, check in or out. And then bring all the oldest to newest, and bring all the oldest ones up to the top again. While they're in disarray, you're going to see a notification pop up here saying your data is out of order. So just make sure they're ordered back into date and time order again, and that alert will disappear. And then this one's ready to go. The reason why you need to do that manually is because I can't have a filter on here, and also these do need to be sorted in date order. So if you see that alert, don't just leave it. Once you've cleared it, resort them back into date and time, because this page needs to be sorted in date and time order. This other one isn't as important. The reason why you need to do the X's first, copy and paste X's first, is because these two sheets are linked. The spreadsheet's currently looking at all of these and all of these to rank them to find the most recent ones. If you were to do these X's first and clear these ones out, then what will happen is more of these will be registered as the latest ones, and you'll actually keep some of these in that shouldn't be here as well. So that's why you do the copy and paste the X's first from both of them, which means you lock those X's in place. So when you clear this and you come here, you'll probably see fewer X's down the side here, but you already have them in here, so then you can clear them out. So it's not a train smash if you do one and then the other, but you're just going to keep more data than you need to. So do the X's, copying and paste first. And once you've done those X's, copying and pasted first between these two sheets, then clear one, clear the other, resort them all into check-in, check-out time. Do the same here with a manual sort. Just make sure when you do the manual sort that you get all the columns all the way up to S, and you don't leave one and just sort bits of it, because that's really going to mess you about. But just keep your head about doing that one and do that in the office on the desktop. Don't try and do that on a mobile. I don't think it's going to work as well. So that is the setup with the hybrid. The other option is to have the hybrid as two separate spreadsheets. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to unhide these two tabs. I'm going to show you how that would work. So if you did split them into two, you'd have most of these tabs on one spreadsheet. You'd have the check-in or out mobile on its own spreadsheet, along with the data import and export mobile. So one of these will be on the main spreadsheet, one of these will be on the mobile spreadsheet. So all you need to do is copy and paste a link between the green and the red. So data export to mobile, you select this gray block. If you press shift and scroll across to the right, and then once you've finished, press shift control and down, it jumps down to the bottom of that box. Copy, come to the data import one. Make sure you're on the next row, row 11, right click here and say paste link. Not paste values this time, paste link. And when you paste the link, what you're effectively doing is you're pasting that big gray box, pasting a link into this one. And then you do the exact same backwards again. So you come across here, shift control and down, right click copy, come across here, right click, paste, link. So you're pasting from the green to the red and from the green to the red, one way and the other one the other way. Once those two are linked up with paste link, those two are effectively done. What you can do then is you can hide those two tabs if you want to so that no one messes with them. If you do break the link, i.e. move something from one folder to another and it breaks it, you can just come back and redo this process. So you can hide these two tabs. All those do is connect the data flow from one to the other and back again. And then you can use your spreadsheet as normal. One will have all these tabs except for the check-in and mobile, and the check-in and out mobile will be a tab all by itself on one spreadsheet because the other one will be hidden. And then you can crack on using these spreadsheets interchangeably, as it were, and they should work fine. Do let me know if you come across any issues because it is quite a complicated spreadsheet to look at behind the scenes to keep everything rolling and working properly. But do just remember the one thing that can really mess this up is if you don't do the copy and paste the X's from the two check-in and out tabs before clearing them out, that can mess you around a little bit. Worst case scenario, it's not the end of the world. You just do it again properly the next time. But yeah, do the copy and paste the X's first and clear them out. Other than that, you can use the two tabs interchangeably and yeah, hopefully that does the job for you. If you're looking at the spreadsheet saying, this is what I want, but it's not quite going to do what I need because I need to do things a different way, then do get hold of me and we can discuss a custom version. But if that does the job for you, I wish you all the best. Thank you very much and goodbye.